Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, and Sasha Banks have been dubbed as the WWE Four Horsewomen. After several historic matches and moments, they are considered four of the best female wrestlers of all time. Today we have decided to rank their top 20 matches against each other. Leave a comment stating your favorite match that only features the WWE Four Horsewomen. In 20th place, we have Bayley challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship on the October 11, 2019 episode of SmackDown. This match came about after Bayley had a successful SmackDown Women's title run in 2019, but started to become jealous that her reign wasn't getting the same attention of Becky's on Raw, which resulted in her joining Sasha Banks and turning heel. 5 days before this SmackDown match, Charlotte ended this Bayley title reign. Bayley showed up to SmackDown with a new attitude and look which would change her career forever. Bayley went on to defeat Charlotte in the main event of the second SmackDown episode on Fox to kick off a historic SmackDown Women's title reign. In 19th place, we have Becky Lynch challenging for the Divas title against Charlotte Flair at the 2016 Royal Rumble. The only Divas title match in this video came about after Charlotte started to take cheap options to retain her title. Becky called Charlotte out on this, which resulted in Charlotte turning on Becky and turning heel with Ric Flair. This took Becky and Charlotte to the Royal Rumble, where they would go on to have a good match. Ric Flair helped Charlotte retain the title. Following the match, Sasha Banks would show up by turning babyface and setting her sights on Charlotte's title. In 18th place, we have Becky Lynch challenging Bayley inside a steel cage on the February 6, 2023 episode of Raw. Becky vs. Bayley is the Four Horsewomen match that has happened the least amount of times, so much so this is the only one in this video. This feud started at SummerSlam 2022 when Bayley returned to WWE by introducing us to Dakota Kai and Io Sky to form Damage Control. On their first night on Raw, they took Becky Lynch out for 3 months. Becky returned at Survivor Series to help Bianca Belair's team win War Games against Damage Control. Becky continued her feud with Damage Control for several months until WWE announced Becky vs. Bayley inside a steel cage on the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. Sadly, this match didn't take place and was moved to the main event of Raw 2 weeks later. The two had a good match by combining their in-ring ability while using the steel cage. The end saw Becky get some backup as WWE Hall of Famer Lita showed up to combat Io Sky and Dakota Kai to help Becky pick up the win. In 17th place, we have Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair teaming up to take on Sasha Banks and Bayley on the September 9, 2019 episode of Raw. For the first time ever on the main roster, we had a match which featured every member of the WWE Four Horsewomen and only these 4 members. As stated earlier, Bayley turned heel and joined forces with Sasha Banks. Sasha was feuding with Becky while Bayley was feuding with Charlotte, which set up this tag team match. This was a great match for Raw, which allowed all 4 to show off their ability. Charlotte was able to defeat Bayley to pick up the win for her team in Madison Square Garden just days before Clash of Champions. In 16th place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at Clash of Champions 2019. This match came about after Sasha Banks returned after SummerSlam 2019 with a new look and attitude as she attacked Natalya and Becky Lynch. Over the next few weeks, Sasha would set her sights on Becky's Raw Women's Championship. Sasha's first opportunity came at Clash of Champions. In our opinion, this is a pretty underrated match which would have ranked higher with a better ending. As the two would battle in the crowd, Becky would cover Sasha in mustard and Sasha would go on to pick up the win via disqualification. In 15th place, we have Charlotte Flair challenging Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship at Roadblock 2016. The historic 2016 Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte Flair feud somewhat came to a pause at Roadblock as they battled in an Iron Woman match. We will talk more about their journey to this match with matches later in the video. This particular match was set up after Sasha Banks won the Raw Women's title for the 3rd time in this feud. For some reason, Ric Flair endorsed Sasha over Charlotte, which caused Charlotte to turn on Ric Flair and attack Sasha as a result. This match was considered the end of the line for their feud. This was a very good match which saw great wrestling, great submissions, and horrible booking. Charlotte managed to make Sasha Banks tap out in the final seconds to make the match go into sudden death. In sudden death, Charlotte managed to make a bloodied Sasha Banks tap out again to give Charlotte her 4th Raw Women's title reign of this feud. In 14th place, we have Charlotte Flair challenging Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam 2016. For the first time in this feud, Sasha Banks was the one defending the championship against Charlotte. Sasha won the Raw Women's title a few weeks previous. Charlotte immediately set her sights on regaining the title and got her rematch at SummerSlam. Yet again, this was a very good match with horrible booking. This match saw Charlotte target Sasha's back throughout. After a back-and-forth ending, Charlotte shocked us with a roll-up and ended Sasha's title reign, which baffled us all. In 13th place, we have Becky Lynch challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title at the 2018 Hell in a Cell event. We have already talked about Sasha going heel, Bayley going heel, Charlotte going heel, and now we are talking about Becky Lynch going heel to set up this match. At SummerSlam 2018, Charlotte won the SmackDown Women's title, which resulted in Becky Lynch turning on Charlotte Flair. Becky continued to grow her heel character over the next few weeks before getting a match for the title. This was one of the best normal matches featuring Becky and Charlotte, as it allowed them to show off their technical ability. Becky countered a spear into a roll-up to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is a title reign that would go on to take Becky to new heights in WWE. In 12th place, we have Charlotte Flair defending her Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks and Bayley at Clash of Champions 2016. As covered earlier, Charlotte defeated Sasha Banks to win the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam. Bayley debuted on the main roster the following night on Raw. Bayley and Sasha drew a number 1 contender match, meaning they would both go on to face Charlotte at Clash of Champions. This was a good match which showed off the ability of all 3 competitors. This was a very back-and-forth match until Charlotte took Sasha out of the picture. Compared to other matches in this video, this was a pretty normal match with no controversial finish, as Charlotte won clean after hitting a boot on Bayley to retain the title. In 11th place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title on the October 3, 2016 episode of Raw. Following the match we just talked about at Clash of Champions, Sasha was able to earn another opportunity at Charlotte Flair. This time Sasha and Charlotte were main eventing Raw for the first time against each other inside the Staples Center. This was a physical match which required both competitors to bring out the best in each other. A frustrated Charlotte got taken advantage of by Sasha, as Sasha made Charlotte tap out to win her 2nd Raw Women's Championship. Before we reveal the top 10, we have a bonus section, as we have decided not to include NXT matches in this list. However, as a bonus, we will reveal the Four Horsewomen's top 5 NXT matches against each other. In 5th place, we have Charlotte Flair retaining the NXT Women's title against Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver, Our Evolution in December 2014. In 4th place, we have Sasha Banks retaining the NXT title against Becky Lynch at NXT TakeOver, Unstoppable in May 2015. In 3rd place, we have Bayley retaining the NXT title against Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver, Respect in October 2015 in an Iron Woman match. In 2nd place, we have Sasha Banks winning the NXT title against Charlotte Flair, Bayley and Becky Lynch at NXT TakeOver, Rival in February 2015, which is sadly the only WWE Four Horsewomen Fatal 4-Way match. In 1st place, we have Bayley winning the NXT title against Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver, Brooklyn in August 2015. This might actually be the best match in this video. We can let you decide that one. Back to our regular list. In 10th place, we have Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's title against Bayley on the November 6, 2020 episode of SmackDown. 2 weeks previous, Sasha Banks had ended Bayley's historic SmackDown Women's title run. The following SmackDown, Bayley asked for her rematch against Sasha, which took place 1 week later. Sasha and Bayley had a great wrestling match with no stipulations or outside interference. This was a technical wrestling match that brought out the best in both Sasha and Bayley. Sasha managed to make Bayley tap out to end their feud. In 9th place, we have Bayley challenging Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title on the February 13, 2017 episode of Raw. After losing at the 2017 Royal Rumble event, Bayley was given a second chance at the championship 2 weeks later in the main event of Raw. While this was a good match, it was the emotion and the story of the match which made this made so good. The end of the match saw Sasha Banks hit Charlotte with a crutch, which allowed Bayley to take advantage and win the Raw Women's Championship for the first time. This was one of the most emotional title wins in the history of Monday Night Raw. In 8th place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title on the July 25, 2016 episode of Raw. Heading into summer 2016, Sasha set her sights on Charlotte's Raw Women's Championship again as their feud started to finally kick off. The newly introduced brand split saw Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair drafted to Monday Night Raw. This new era for Raw saw Sasha challenge Charlotte for the title for the first time in their historic 2016 feud. Sasha and Charlotte had a great match, probably the best women's Raw match ever at this point in time. Sasha and Charlotte showed off their excellent wrestling ability while telling the story, which saw Sasha Banks refuse to quit no matter what Charlotte did. For the first time ever, the Raw Women's Championship changed hands as Sasha Banks made Charlotte submit to win the championship. Following the match, Sasha declared we were entering a new era, and how correct she was. In 7th place, we have Charlotte Flair challenging Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship at the 2016 Hell in a Cell. Yet another Sasha vs. Charlotte match, but this time in the main event of a pay-per-view, which was a first for women in WWE and the first time women stepped inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks walked into her hometown as champion, as it was expected the feud was coming to an end. This was an excellent match which saw Charlotte put Sasha through the announce table before the match even started. Sasha continued the match as the two showed off their excellent wrestling ability while using the Hell in a Cell and all the weapons inside to their advantage. Despite how good this match was, sadly it's remembered for the wrong reasons. The ending saw Charlotte fail to throw Sasha through a table twice, which resulted in the talking point of the match being Sasha Banks' wedgie, which happened during the botched table spot, which led to Sasha getting beat in her hometown as she lost her Raw Women's title to Charlotte. With a better ending, this would have ranked higher. In 6th place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title on the November 28, 2016 episode of Monday Night Raw. We promised this is the final Charlotte vs. Sasha match in this video. After their Hell in a Cell match, which we just talked about, Sasha had to wait 1 month to get her title shot. This match ended within minutes as Charlotte and Sasha got counted out. This is not the match we are ranking 6th, as Mick Foley announced the match would take place again in the main event in a last woman standing match. This was an excellent match which saw Charlotte and Sasha have a physical match that went all across the arena. The match battled into the crowd, where Sasha made Charlotte tap out to win her 3rd Raw Women's Championship in Charlotte's hometown. The booking of this feud gets even more bizarre as Ric Flair celebrates Sasha Banks' win. In 5th place, we have Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch battling for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 32. Following the 2016 Royal Rumble, Sasha and Becky set their focus on Charlotte's Divas title. Both managed to earn a title shot at WrestleMania 32, which was the highest attended WWE event ever. The original plan for this match was Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte Flair, but Becky worked her way into the match according to Becky Lynch in her book. During the WrestleMania 32 pre-show, we said goodbye to the Divas era as Lita introduced the brand new Women's Championship. All three were given a big entrance, especially Sasha Banks, who was played to the ring by her cousin Snoop Dogg. This match ended up stealing the show at the highest attended WrestleMania of all time. We saw great wrestling, technical submissions, dives, and great storytelling. After a competitive match, Charlotte managed to make Becky Lynch tap out to win the Women's Championship. The perfect way to say good riddance to the Divas era and hello to the Women's Evolution. In 4th place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at the 2019 Hell in a Cell event. Following the Clash of the Champions match, Sasha Banks continued to set her focus on Becky Lynch as Sasha technically won the match via disqualification. The feud intensified to the point where Becky challenged Sasha to the second ever women's Hell in a Cell match. The match started with Sasha attacking Becky before the bell even rang. Becky was able to continue the match and the two went on to have an all-time classic inside the Hell in a Cell. They were both able to combine their excellent wrestling abilities while also using the Hell in a Cell to tell a story. Several weapons were used such as kendo sticks, chairs, and tables, which actually broke this time. The end of the match saw Becky make Sasha tap out to retain the Raw Women's title. In third place, we have Becky Lynch facing Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series 2021. Back when Survivor Series was a Raw vs. SmackDown event, we saw Becky walk in as Raw Women's Champion and Charlotte walk in as SmackDown Women's Champion. This was the case after a disaster of a segment a few weeks before Survivor Series as Becky and Charlotte traded titles as they swapped brands. Going into the match, there was speculation of heated drama behind the scenes with Becky and Charlotte, and it was unknown if they could work together. Becky and Charlotte more than proved everyone wrong as they had an excellent wrestling match. This is our highest ranked match, which doesn't involve stipulations, championships, or any controversial finishes. This was a straight up wrestling match and it was an extremely good one. The end of the match saw Becky pin Charlotte with a roll up to win the match. In second place, we have Charlotte Flair challenging Becky Lynch at Evolution 2018 for the SmackDown Women's title. As stated earlier, Becky turned on Charlotte at SummerSlam and won the championship 1 month later. They had a rematch in Australia which had a non-finish. They had another rematch on SmackDown which saw Charlotte put Becky through the stage, which led to a last woman standing match being made for the first ever all-female WWE pay-per-view called Evolution. This was an excellent match which probably should have main evented the show, which brought out the intensity in both competitors. Becky and Charlotte battled all over the arena and used all the weapons they could find to try keep each other down for the 10 count. The end of the match saw Becky powerbomb Charlotte through a table to retain the championship. In first place, we have Sasha Banks challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title at the 2020 Hell in a Cell event. WWE spent over a year teasing this match. Once Sasha Banks and Bayley joined forces as heels in 2019, we were just waiting to see who would turn on the other first. The storyline saw Sasha edging closer towards the women's title, but after winning the women's tag team titles, Bayley used this to keep Sasha's focus away from her SmackDown Women's title. After Sasha lost the Raw Women's title and the team lost the tag titles 1 week later, Bayley could see the writing on the wall and turned on Sasha Banks. During the next 6 weeks, the feud intensified to the point where Sasha wanted to get revenge inside Hell in a Cell. Despite this match taking place in the Thunderdome, we don't think it matters as this was an excellent match which brought out the best in both Bayley and Sasha. We saw great storytelling through the wrestling they were doing and the weapons being used being a throwback to their storyline. The match ended with Sasha Banks making Bayley tap out to win the SmackDown Women's title. Please like, subscribe, and feel free to check out our most recent video ranking the entire women's division's chances of becoming a future women's champion. We thank you for watching.